It starts as nothing more than a drop of darkness, a liquid mass drifting through the void, waiting for a host. The Venom Symbiote has crossed galaxies, merged with killers and heroes, and left trails of ruin in its wake. But never before has it encountered a being like this. An alien raised under the light of a yellow sun. A god who walks among mortals. A man who wears hope as his emblem. The night is quiet in Metropolis when it arrives. A piece of alien matter, carried by a fallen satellite, crashes into the riverbanks near the city. It moves like a shadow given form, slipping unseen through streets, searching, always searching. And then it feels him, the heartbeat that outshines all others. A power that eclipses anything it has ever known. It senses a vessel strong enough to feed it endlessly, and it does not hesitate. Clark Kent is not unprepared for danger. Every day of his life has been a balance between holding back and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. But when the black tide surges toward him, he is caught off guard. Not by strength, but by silence. The symbiote does not roar. It does not strike with force. It wraps around him gently, whispering to his mind, sliding beneath his skin like a second heartbeat. For a moment he resists. Superman's will has faced gods, monsters, and mind controllers. But this is different. The symbiote does not command, it tempts. It shows him a vision of himself without restraint. A Superman who does not fear holding back. A Superman who no longer worries about collateral or mercy. Why save the world piece by piece? It whispers. When you could own it, reshape it, end its pain forever? The suit forms around him, black as night, reshaping the familiar S into a jagged emblem of hunger. Every muscle feels lighter. Every sense sharpens. Tendrils lash from his arms, climbing skyscrapers with ease. He leaps into the sky, and for the first time since childhood, he feels something new, freedom without limits. The battles that follow are unlike any Metropolis has seen. Bank robbers, armored gangs, even alien invaders. None last a second against him. Superman has always been unstoppable, but now he is relentless. The symbiote pushes him to strike harder, faster, with no hesitation. When bullets fly, the suit devours them mid-air. When enemies flee, the tendrils pull them back. To the world, it looks like Superman has evolved. Stronger, deadlier, perfect. But perfection carries a cost. The black hunger seeps deeper with every heartbeat. It feeds not only on his power, but on his doubts. For years, Clark has carried guilt. The lives lost when he wasn't fast enough. The friends hurt when he couldn't be everywhere. The symbiote drinks from that pain and tells him it can all stop if he just stops caring. Lois notices it first. The warmth in his smile fades. The man who once joked over coffee grows silent, distant, sharp. When she reaches for him, the suit lashes out, tendrils whipping through the air in warning. Clark pulls it back instantly, horrified, but the damage is done. He realizes the truth. The symbiote is not his tool. It is his partner, and it is learning to act without him. Still, the hunger feels intoxicating. When Darkseid's warriors descend from a boom tube, Superman no longer struggles. He tears through them in minutes, eyes burning with fury, fists striking like thunder. For the first time, the armies of Apocalypse retreat in fear. And yet, as their bodies fall, the symbiote purrs with satisfaction. It does not want protection. It wants domination. The conflict grows inside him. Clark Kent, the boy raised by farmers who taught him humility and kindness, is still there. But so is Kal-El, last son of Krypton, forged by power and burden. And the suit whispers to Kal, not Clark. You are not a man. You are not their savior. You are their god. Let them kneel. Every night he battles not villains, but himself. When he looks into the mirror, he no longer sees the hero of Metropolis. He sees a predator cloaked in living shadow, a god wrapped in hunger. And he wonders, is his will enough to keep the darkness at bay? Or is even Superman's soul too fragile to resist forever? Because if he loses, the world will not face Superman anymore. it will face something worse. A being with Superman's strength and Venom's hunger. A god in black. A shadow that cannot be stopped. And the city of tomorrow may become the feeding ground of the void. The city does not realize the danger at first. To them, Superman is still their savior. He stops disasters faster, defeats enemies more brutally, and walks the streets as an untouchable force. News outlets hail his new suit as a symbol of evolution. Children draw the black emblem in notebooks. Crowds cheer louder than ever. But beneath the celebration, the truth grows darker. The symbiote has learned him. It knows every thought, every hesitation, every secret fear. It does not need to speak aloud anymore. Its voice lives inside his mind. When Clark saves a family from a burning building, it whispers, "Why save them? Destroy the cause. Tear down the entire block and rebuild it stronger." When criminals raise weapons, it whispers, "Do not let them live to harm again. End them now." Every suggestion comes with temptation. Every temptation makes the weight of restraint heavier. And then comes the night he crosses a line. A group of mercenaries attacks a research lab, stealing Kryptonian technology salvaged from a crashed ship. Normally, Clark would disarm them, knock them out, and let the law decide. But tonight, the symbiote takes hold. The fight is over in seconds. Tendrils pierce walls, ripping the guns apart. And when one mercenary fires a kryptonite-tipped round, Superman's rage explodes. His heat vision burns brighter than ever. The man screams as the beam cuts a molten scar into the ground an inch from his face. For the first time, Superman almost kills, not by accident but by choice. The world doesn't see it. Only the survivors do, and they whisper in terror. The black-suited Superman is no longer a savior. He is something else. Lois confronts him that night. She sees the shadows in his eyes, the way the suit seems to cling even when he tries to remove it. He swears he's still in control, but his voice trembles. She tells him, "Clark, this isn't you. It's using you." And deep down, he knows she's right. But he also knows the truth. Part of him wants what the suit offers. For years, he lived with restraint, always afraid of losing control. Now, for the first time, he feels limitless. And it terrifies him how much he enjoys it. The Justice League begins to notice. Batman studies footage of Superman's new brutality. Wonder Woman confronts him, warning that his blows land too hard, that his eyes burn too long. But Superman only grows defensive. "It makes me better," he tells them. "You don't understand. With this, I can finally protect everyone." But the truth is clear to them, he is slipping. The symbiote, emboldened, begins to test its strength. It lashes out even when he resists, slamming enemies harder than he intends. It spreads across his chest in jagged patterns, marking him as its own. And sometimes, in the middle of battle, he feels his hands move before he commands them. The line between host and parasite blurs more with each day. Metropolis begins to fear. The same citizens who once waved at him from rooftops now step back when he passes overhead. They whisper of his new violence, the way villains vanish instead of reappearing in prisons. Some worship the black-suited Superman as a god of punishment. Others pray for the old one to return. But inside Clark's mind, the war rages louder than the city streets. Every night, he dreams of Lois screaming as tendrils pull her away. Every day, he feels the suit digging deeper, bonding with his cells, learning his Kryptonian biology. If it ever takes full control, he knows it will not stop with him. It will spread. It will breed. And Earth will drown in shadow. Yet even as he realizes the danger, he hesitates to remove it. Because without it, he remembers his failures. Every life lost, every enemy too strong, every second too late. The symbiote silences that pain. It gives him the illusion of perfection. And how does even Superman walk away from that? The tipping point comes when Lex Luthor strikes. Using Kryptonian weapons, he unleashes an army of drones on the city, forcing Superman into battle. The fight should have been difficult. But with the symbiote, it isn't. Superman rips through the machines like paper, crushing them, tearing metal apart with tendrils sharper than steel. And when he finds Lex hiding in his tower, the whispers grow deafening. End him. End the man who has tormented you. End the threat forever. Superman's hands close around Lex's throat. The city watches through shattered windows as the black-suited god hovers in the sky, his enemy dangling helplessly. And for the first time in his life, Superman considers it. One squeeze, 1 second, and the world would be free of Lex Luthor forever. The question is no longer if he can survive the symbiote. The question is if his soul can survive the weight of what it wants him to become. The city holds its breath. Superman floats above Metropolis with Lex Luthor in his grip, the black suit writhing like a living storm across his body. For a heartbeat, the world sees the truth. Their hero is gone, replaced by something darker. Lex's voice cracks with both fear and triumph. Yes, this is who you are. You were never their savior. You were always their weapon. The symbiote tightens its grip. It surges into Clark's veins, feeding on his rage, amplifying every ounce of frustration he's carried since the day he first revealed himself to humanity. For years he's carried the burden of being everywhere, saving everyone, being perfect. The symbiote offers him an end to that struggle. One squeeze, one moment, and the enemy who has haunted him vanishes forever. It whispers again, do it. End him. End the pain. But in that moment, he sees his reflection in Lex's terrified eyes. Not Superman. Not Clark Kent. Not Kal-El of Krypton. He sees a predator, cloaked in hunger, a god without mercy. And he remembers the voices that shaped him. Not the whispers of the suit, but the voices of Earth. Jonathan Kent teaching him humility. Martha reminding him that strength means nothing without compassion. Lois calling him back from the abyss. They raised not a god, not a weapon, but a man who chooses. And choice is what makes him Superman. With a roar, he pulls the symbiote back, forcing it to release its tendrils from his throat, his arms, his mind. It thrashes, screaming in his thoughts, slamming waves of hunger and rage through his nervous system. Every instinct tells him to surrender, that resistance is pointless. But this is where Superman is most dangerous. Not in his fists, not in his heat vision, but in his will. He chooses. He resists. And with a final surge, he tears the symbiote from his chest. The black liquid shrieks as it rips away, lashing out in desperate fury. It tries to claw back, to bury itself again. Superman drags it into the upper atmosphere, higher and higher, until Earth is only a blue jewel below. The symbiote writhes in the freezing vacuum, weakening, shrinking. He hurls it into the heart of the sun, where the endless fire consumes its darkness. And for the first time since it touched him, Clark feels silence in his mind. He falls back to Earth, his red and blue restored, but his spirit scarred. Lois meets him, eyes full of relief and worry. He tells her the truth. He was never invincible. Not to magic, not to kryptonite, and not to temptation. The symbiote showed him a version of himself he fears most. A Superman without restraint, a god who stops being human. The world breathes easier, but whispers remain. They saw the black-suited god, the fury in his eyes, the man who almost killed Lex Luthor. Some say it was not weakness but truth, that Superman should never hold back again. Others fear what might happen if another darkness like the symbiote finds him. Clark returns to the Daily Planet, to the life that keeps him grounded. He reminds himself that his strength is not in the powers he wields, but in the choices he makes. And as he looks over the city, he knows the Venom Symbiote will never truly vanish. Even if it burned away, its memory lingers. A shadow in the back of his mind. A question that may haunt him forever. Can Superman survive the Venom Symbiote? Yes, but surviving is not victory. Because deep inside, he knows the suit showed him a hunger that was already there. And the greatest enemy he will ever face is not the darkness outside him, but the darkness waiting within.